Just a quick word to you, dear listener. A little reminder to sign up to the Enjoy an Album Patreon. Christopher, what are some of the benefits for our Enjoy an Album Ultras, as we like to call them?
If you become an Ultra,
yes,
you get early access, and it's getting earlier and earlier.
Yeah. It actually wakes you up in the morning. Chris just turns up at your house and shakes you awake and then throws a podcast in your face.
Top tier benefit. You wake up, I'm in your bed, and I'm shouting at you saying, "Hey, new podcast!" No, that isn't one of the benefits. There are actual benefits. You get probably like 10 hours of bonus episodes at this point. You
my God, there's so
Williams,
many. Yeah.
Iron Maiden, fucking
Hamilton, Mogwai.
What's the recent ones we've been doing?
Ed Sheeran.
The new Ed Sheeran Patreon episode where we listen to Ed Sheeran's new record,
Yes.
Subtract. And, it has subtracted hours from our lives.
Yes.
And,
enjoyable for you to listen to. The Ratings.
We'd listen to that.
We're at war with their fan base. There's loads of really good episodes already on there, and you get another new, fresh episode. It's just the same as these episodes, but hey, no adverts for starters.
If you dig the podcast and you want to hear more of the podcast, become an ultra. Support it. Patreon was built on a culture of soundness, to quote Blind Boy Boat Club, and yeah, it's sound to help. If you dig it, then
if you like the pod, the best way to support is to sign up to the Patreon. It's £5 a month. Also, very, very, very soon we will be announcing some live dates for the podcast at the Edinburgh Festival and perhaps beyond. And patrons will get first dibs on tickets for that. So if you want to come to that, the best way to make sure you get a ticket is to join the Enjoy an Album Patreon. Other than that,
hey.
Hello, welcome to the Enjoy an Album podcast with Liam with Christopher MacArthur Boyd. Haven't said that in a while.
Not said that. Usually we do a question. This week we're doing Burt Bacharach.
Yes.
1971, Portrait and Music with John Aggasild. Very funny. Aberdonian comedian.
Absolutely. Aberdeen. I haven't been there in a while.
You haven't been up to do your... we'll get to what
I've got a Fringe preview there, actually, for any Aberdonian listeners at some point.
Any Donners up there?
Who?
Donners. They're called Dons, I think.
What?
I think they're called Dons. Aberdonian people.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't know what the fuck you were talking about then.
Yeah.
That was confusing. So I'm doing a Fringe review. Hey, that leads me nicely to say we've both got Fringe shows on sale now here at Monkey Barrel.
Monkey Barrel Comedy Club.
Both shows are, I don't mind saying, shit hot.
I've not done a preview in a while.
They've come together very nicely, and I feel very confident that both Chris and I are going to be named joint best show winners for the first time. No, they did that once with the Hannah Gadsby one, which John Roberts, didn't they? But anyway, we're going to be the second person to do that because they won't be able to decide which one is best.
Thanks for listening this week. It's kind of a long episode, then we've been here for too long because various issues, but we are... hope you're enjoying it.
We hope you're enjoying it. And Patreon listeners are going to get the episode. Non-Patreon listeners are going to get an advert for bloody Manscaped.
Yeah, they're going to get a Manscaped ad, but you can listen. Just join, become an ultra. Don't give us anything. Give yourself the gift of being an ultra,
and spend some even more time in the company of two future award-nominated comedians.
Right, please stop saying that because we're not going to get it. I don't know if that's what your dream is, but we're not going to win it. It's all politics, man.
Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. Listen, enjoy the episode. John Aggasild is fantastic, and he's a really good guest. Well, you'll see why. He does some fucking cool shit.
Honestly, me and Liam are a wee bit burnt out, and it doesn't come across because John's so powerful.
Yeah, he is powerful. Right, enjoy the ep. We'll chat to you soon. We'll chat to you soon. Bye. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Guys, you've been listening. You know the deal. It's stuff to shave your balls with, and it works. They've been long-term sponsor of the pod. We've both used the products regularly. Our downstairs bits are in tip-top condition because of... and you can get 20% off with the album code... With the code ALBUM20 even.
ALBUM20 code gives you a discount, and you can get grooming products that are cut-free technology. Yes. Honestly, I don't even look at my cock and balls when I'm shaving them. I just take what's it called? The lawnmower?
Yes, the lawnmower. I actually put a blindfold on to test the...
I'm like one of those samurais who's so fucking in touch with like the force that they don't even need to see to have a samurai fight. They just take the lawnmower
Yeah.
They don't. I do.
It's that.
I just go at it, man.
You know
And
that
I've
scene
never bled
in
out my
Star
cock
Wars
less.
when they put the blindfold on Luke and there's the little ball like flying around him and he knows where it is. That's what I'm like with Chris's balls.
That's what, we'll do each other, and it's fine to do that, and it's not weird. And it's,
Not at all.
it's just two platonic friends shaving each other's balls with
Yeah.
Manscaped, and you don't need somebody like that in your life. You know, you can do it yourself, and
But it's nice if you do.
It's nice if you do.
Album 20. Get on it. Thanks so much.
You're listening to Enjoy an Album, the podcast where two comedians listen to some of the greatest albums of all time.
Burt Bacharach's songs are deft studies in light and dark, order and chaos, major key optimism, and minor key doubt. The lyrics to songs like Walk On By and I Just Don't Know What to Do With Myself, or Trains, Boats and Planes, and so many others convey messy, overwhelming emotions, while the music itself sounds exquisite.
You want me to do this?
No, I've got a vocal zone in my mouth, so that's why that didn't work. I'll try again. While the music itself sounds exquisitely and exactingly crafted, each element heightens the other to make the song more relatable and somehow even more pleasurable to anyone who has a heart.
Wow.
Speaking of people who have a heart, it's John Aggasild in the studio.
Hello.
Wah, 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 wah.
Hello.
Get right up in there, John. Get right up
Beyonce
in
has
the
left the
microphone.
capital. Enter John.
Yeah, Beyonce was here last night. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ex-guest
Did
nearly
she-
had Beyonce at their husband's restaurant.
Ex-guest Beyonce.
She was sound, man. Get her back.
Yeah, the audio didn't work, so we haven't put that out.
Yeah, it was me, you, and Beyonce talking about Van der Graaf generator for 3 hours. She went right deep into the Van der system.
John, when we have guests, we ask them to choose one of their favourite artists or favourite albums, and you have brought us Burt Bacharach.
Yeah.
Portrait in Music, 1971.
Yeah.
Very cool choice, I think.
Yeah.
A few people I've spoken to, I've said we're doing Burt Bacharach, and they've said, "Who's that?"
Not Musos.
No.
Well, yes, exactly.
Idiots.
I'm kind of shocked that people don't know who he is.
Well, I was watching a documentary on BBC4 about Burt Bacharach in preparation, and Noel Gallagher
This
was
bit
on it.
is so good. if you want a good talking, please.
Noel Gallagher is a talking head in it, and he goes, "Remember somebody said to me, like, who Burt Bacharach?" I was like, "I don't fucking know who he is." And then they played me some of his songs, and I knew every word to every one of them.
Yes.
And like, people like me really look up to him.
He's a hit machine.
He's a hit machine. Noel Gallagher was a hit machine. And also, Burt Bacharach, yeah, I think I know most of the words to all of these, and I'd only heard it when you brought this album to us. Mm-hmm. When was the first time you fell in love with Burt Bacharach?
Can we just say that John has actually brought the album to us?
Oh my God.
Audio listeners, I'm holding up a vinyl copy of Burt Bacharach's Portrait in Music.
Oxfam Music, £2. How did you do this?
Bosh.
Bosh indeed. And there's a sticker with 2 stars on it on the cover,
So I
which
should have
means
taken that
this album has won 2 European championships.
No, that's just fair. But I've listened to it through. It plays fine.
Really? Because I have not. I mean, John works in Oxfam Music sometimes, or volunteers.
Shout out, yeah.
Shout
out
to the Oxfam Music on Byers Road. I've bought a 4-star quality thing in there, and it was all fucked up. So I'm not
Wow,
putting
you're going-
you and your people
You're
on
going
blast.
after
but-
Oxfam.
I can't speak to that.
Okay.
I
what
can't speak to whoever graded that record.
What about the controversies with Oxfam?
We just started.
I knew that you would bring this up. I knew you would bring this up. And my prepared statement is some bad apples in Haiti, right?
There's some bad apples in Haiti.
Wow,
And
okay.
that is not a damning indictment.
Well, John, it's been lovely having you on.
But
Let's cut this.
That's not an damning indictment to all the people who work in charity shops
Great
across
people.
the UK
No,
who
no.
give
Yeah.
up a lot of their time.
Of course, it's a great thing to do. I just wanted
raise money for
We need to get balance.
famine.
We need balance.
Sure, I get it.
So we've also next week we've got a genocidal maniac on as well to balance things out. How did you first get into?
Roscoe McClellan's coming back.
Yeah, he's back. Bertie B. How did you and Bert get intertwined?
Well, I
musically?
think what Liam said, quoting Noel there,
Lovely to open a can while you answer a question. Very on brand for the podcast.
Yes.
That's why I did it.
We're just hoping you burp sometime during as well.
Once I get that down me, hopefully. What Noel Gallagher says about it is kind of says about Burt Bacharach, kind of sums up my experience of it. I think that anybody who sort of is into music or grew up in the sort of latter part of the 20th century, that would be just your relationship with him, really. And I don't think it's more complicated than that. I remember my gran would sing "Do You Know the Way to San Jose" a lot when I was young. I was growing up, but sometimes I say a little prayer for you.
I say a little prayer for you. Forever and ever, I'm breaking my heart.
And that was how I got to know that song, but that wasn't really how I got to know Burt Bacharach. I don't know when I became like aware of him. I don't know when I became aware of him, but he is somebody that you kind of know. And I guess as you get into music, depending on to what extent you're into music and what type of music you're into, I just got into him, and then I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, I was listening to him a bit more. As I said, I volunteer in Oxfam Music.
Stop fucking going on about it, Jesus Christ.
And this album is in there a lot.
This one's in there a lot.
Yeah. There's albums that come in and that are more.
What's the
more
most?
popular.
What's the more like common stuff? I always think when I'm in a secondhand vinyl shop, what I always see is a compilation from the 80s called Soft Metal with a rose on the cover.
Right.
I've been in record shops, but there's been like 7 copies of that, and they're like, we just can't shift this.
It comes in waves. It depends on who's dying.
Yeah, it's a generational thing, isn't it?
It depends on who's dying, and this is in there a lot. And
COVID must have been great for the secondhand vinyl.
that is, I mean, I am getting kind of sincere, but it is such a cool and sad experience when somebody passes away and, you know, their brother-in-law or whatever calls ahead and is like, I'm coming in, I've got shitloads of records.
Yeah.
And then you have to go out to somebody's car and then carry in loads of boxes, and you just see somebody's life.
Yeah.
A portrait in music
Wow.
of a person. Some might say.
Whoa. Wow. Best guess ever.
But it is really, really cool.
Do you ever have someone come in who's died and then you're glad that they're dead because their record collection is so bad?
Insane Clown Posse. Wow, Christopher MacArthur Boyd has died.
You do it. You are like, oh, what a shame. You're like, shite. That's all right. Rip. Big rip. Get that checked. That's worth a bob or two. But one time, a few years ago, Stu McPherson, previous guest,
Friend of the pod,
came in and he was like, oh, is there anything I should get? And when I play, on the occasions that I like play this in the shop, playing a record in the shop is a great way to sell a record.
Yeah.
And it's bittersweet when somebody's like, oh, can I get that? And you're like, oh, fuck, I was listening to that.
Sure.
Very much a similar experience when I used to work in a Blockbuster and you'd put a movie on and somebody would be like, oh, can I? Oh, brilliant. Mrs. Doubtfire, I've not seen that in years. You're like, all right, I'm hungover. I'm trying to watch Mrs. Doubtfire.
You worked in Blockbusters and now a record shop.
Yeah.
You love physical media, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't hit the tables. Why do you always hit the
It's
tables?
just a recent thing as well.
Yeah.
Table in the air.
But
Very
yeah,
percussive.
Stu came in and I was like, you got to have this record. You got to have this record in your collection. First of all, I don't want to step on Greensleeves. We'll get to that.
Greensleeves is gone.
It's on hiatus.
What?
It's on
Yeah,
hiatus.
yeah.
Okay, let's quickly, we'll get Greensleeves out of the way.
We take a
No. The reason it's on here is because the jingle is so bad. So don't do the jingle. It's the opposite thing.
But it's a great record because big face, big old face. Can't go wrong with a massive face on a record.
Terrible hair. Let's be real.
Are you kidding on?
Get that opened up. Get that gatefold opened up, and you might have something else to say.
Okay.
Oh,
That's a good looking boy.
That's a good looking boy.
Wowee.
That's a
Okay,
good
so for the
looking
audio
boy.
listener,
You ever kiss this, John?
the
I would.
gatefold
Maybe, I don't
is a big 2-photo portrait picture of Burt Bacharach, and who knows what's going on outside the picture. But
You don't get that on Spotify.
I think it's safe to say he's got about 50 people around him with musical instruments of different types, and he's like, fucking hell, these guys just can't get it right.
So it's interesting you bring up that thing in record shops with when it's playing, right? Because this is like a little bit nice of circular thinking that's just happened. So my partner, about a year and a half ago, went into a record shop just before Christmas to buy me a record for Christmas, unknown to me at the time.
You knew it was going to be Christmas, though.
I didn't know it was going to be Christmas. Okay, I'm pretty hot on that. I got it in my diary. But she was. I had been listening to a band called Madhu Mokhtar. Yes, and she the African rock band, and she went and bought it in a record shop. I think it was FOP, and the guy said, every time I play this band, someone comes up and says, "Who the hell is this?" And we sell an extra copy. And then the reason that's circular, me and Aggers went to see Madhu Mokhtar last year.
That is circular.
Yeah,
It's like a damn circle.
Yeah.
Not to be showing off that I am playing too much Zelda this week, but it's very much like the ring ruin above Hakariko Village and its circularness.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a good reference for everybody.
Everybody's going to get that. Everybody's going to get it.
Speaking of records,
What is it? Can I just... Oh, wait. Are you going to do something cool?
do you want it? You get what you want to say.
No.
No, I was going to make up something to move the conversation along, but then I remembered you actually have a good thing to do.
Yeah, I kind of want to stop the podcast dead in its tracks.
Sick.
One-time feature, if that's okay.
New feature.
Yeah.
Are you got a theme tune for it?
I would say just sing Aggers, but to the theme tune of Nardwar the Human Serviette.
What is this? Unbelievable. Oh my God. All other guests in the mud.
In the dirt.
I won't do the voice. Well, I'll do the voice.
Don't do the voice.
Who are you?
Christopher McArthur Boyd and Liam Whitney.
Very briefly, just explain who Nardwar is to non-Nardwar
I
heads.
can't believe that somebody who listens to this wouldn't know who Nardwar is.
This is Nardwar adjacent, isn't it?
I think there's plenty of people who
And we
know.
spoke about Nardwar in the Blur episode.
Sure, but I just think it's good. Just a quick catch.
Okay, so there's a
guy.
there's a Canadian music journalist or music enthusiast who has an online, usually one of the first YouTube interviews, I think. I mean, way back when. I mean, probably done it on Access TV before that.
Yeah, prior, like in the 90s and stuff.
Where the clips come from, but he interviews people in a very repetitive way that annoys some people to the point where they get coked up and hit him if you're the drummer for Blur. But then most people are pretty cool with it, and they're doing a wee tribute to that.
He brings them sort of obscure, like if they've said once in an interview, I like red Skittles, then he'll buy them red Skittles.
Or like Tyler the Creator will mention once that one of his first records was a specific like E40 7-inch, and he'll show up with this like
promotional copy.
Yeah, the white label promotional copy. And you're just like, what the fuck?
So we've got an Aggers Nardwar crossover.
Yeah, my financial budget isn't quite the same as Nardwar.
I don't think he has much of a budget, man.
He's got connections.
Yeah.
CMB.
Yeah.
Christopher McArthur Boyd.
Yeah.
Christopher McArthur Boyd. You're a big country music legend.
I've been getting into country recently, for sure.
Well, straight off the bat, I have a gift for you.
Okay, sick.
I have
Tote bag.
Glenn Campbell.
Oh my God.
I remember Hank Williams.
I remember him too from getting into country recently. That's great. I'm so lonesome I could cry.
Oh, that's yeah.
It's Glenn,
so lonesome.
It's Glenn Campbell covering Hank Williams songs.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you so
Wow,
much.
you've got a vinyl with Glenn Campbell. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Liam,
hello.
I have a riddle for you.
Okay.
What did the German veterinarian say to his client at the end of their appointment?
I feel like if I spent long enough thinking about it, I could get it, but I don't know.
Well, I have a record for you, Liam. I have a Wiedersehen Pet.
The original music from the successful TV series of Wiedersehen Pet.
Featuring Tim Healy, father of your favourite philosopher.
Matt Healy!
Yeah.
Wow.
Wiedersehen Pet is back.
You're better than Amelia Dingenberg.
Amelia Dingenberg is in the mud also.
Because in a previous episode, I heard you singing, That's Living Alright.
Wow. Oh wow, it's broken up into episodes. So there's 3 songs from
each
episode.
I think.
It's dialogue as well. Fantastic. Okay, some of the tracks include Mr. Jazz Meets Oz, Hunt the Coffin,
Spooky Flute.
and a new girl on site. Well, that's really exciting. Many thanks to C-Link UK. Well, thanks C-Link, the ferry
C-Link.
company, for providing the front cover there. Auf Wiedersehen, Pet is back.
CMB,
Yeah.
can you complete this lyric for me?
There's more.
Let me try my best.
I'm horny, what?
So horny, yeah.
Horniness is a subject that crops up a lot on the
There's
podcast.
5 ways to determine a piece of art's worth. Is it horny? Is it scary? Is it funny? Is it cool? Is it weird?
Well, I have a horny record for you.
great.
I have the dub version of Doors of Your Heart by The Beat.
The Beat, oh my God. And then there's 2 cows, purple cows, fucking.
It's Noah's Ark and all the animals are fucking on the cover.
Wow.
That's great.
This is crazy.
I never thought about how hedgehogs would fuck. It's probably pretty hard.
It's a great great song.
There's elephants
Great
fucking
version.
on the back, camels
Elephants
fucking, there's pigs fucking.
It's
Wow,
really
that is
good.
horny.
And I think it's on a nice like sort of two-tone ska.
Wow, what's my
label.
second gift? Is it the soundtrack from the Demon Headmaster? Casualty?
I've got another record for
The Queen's Nose.
I've got another record for Chris. Complete
What?
this lyric.
What?
Poor old.
Poor old
Think of Kevin Rowland.
Kevin Rowland.
Poor old Kevin Rowland.
Poor old Johnny Ray.
Poor old Johnny Ray.
And I have a gift for you. I have the best of Johnny Ray. Tell us a little bit about Johnny Ray, Christopher MacArthur Boyd.
I don't think I've ever had the words Johnny Ray leave my lips.
Johnny Ray was, according to one of my Oxfam colleagues, a massive inspiration on one of your heroes, Stephen Morrissey.
Oh, he's a pre-Morrissey guy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And Morrissey apparently copied the quiff from Johnny Ray. And Johnny Ray...
Then I copied it off him, and then I got
exactly.
a middle part.
And Johnny Ray apparently had to wear a hearing aid because he was disabled.
But
And-
he's name checked in Come On Eileen. That's the opening.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
And Morrissey would sometimes wear a
Morrissey
hearing aid
copied that
on
off him?
stage. Yeah.
Wow, thank
As
you
a
so
tribute
much.
to him. So that's something, a little something
That's
there for
sick.
you. Liam,
What, there's more gifts.
Liam, branching out.
Okay. Fantastic friend show from myself.
So in tribute to branching out, I have a gift for you. I have one of my favourite artists, Stevie Wonder's Journey Through
my
the
God,
Secret Life of
that's
Plants.
a real
Hell
good
yes.
record, man.
Hell yes. The Secret Life of Plant.
And
by
it's
And what's the
Stevie
penultimate
Wonder.
track called?
It is called Tree.
Yeah, there's the link.
There's the link. Very good. Race babbling as well is there. We do a lot of that on this podcast.
That
Oh, we
has,
don't do that.
I think it's Venus and the Flytrap.
Venus Flytrap and the Bug.
Yeah, that's got, I think, my favourite harmonica melody of Stevie Wonder's.
Really?
there's a
What's your
bit-
top 5?
I'm
just kidding.
I don't know the other one, but one of the outtakes to take that's on a song on Take Care.
And you are wearing your Stevie Wonder t-shirt as
Yeah.
well. We love when guests wear
Yeah,
t-shirts.
I mean, Burt Bacharach was my fifth out of 5 that I wanted to talk about, and you
That
were like,
is true,
"Let's go to the
yeah.
one you least want to talk about." But I am really excited to talk about it. But we'll get through the rest of this. Speaking of fringe shows, CMB.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no! And I have a record for you. I have Oh No by Mos Def,
Nate Dogg.
Pharaoh Monch, and Nate Dogg
Wow. That's so sick.
from the legendary compilation, The Lyricist Lounge Volume 2, which was named after a open mic that a lot of rappers used to go to in New York, I believe.
This is so cool. John, can you come on every week?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
I've
more
got another one for you, Chris.
What the fuck? What's going on here? How does Chris get all the records?
Come on, you got Stevie
Would
Wonder.
you describe yourself as a controversial comedian?
Yes.
Oh yeah, big time, man.
You were recently embroiled in some controversy on an online clip last year. CMB controversy, MB, some might say.
Yeah, some people have said
from
that.
CMB to another controversial comedian. It's DICE. Andrew
Whoa,
Dice.
Andrew Clay Dice warning this album is offensive. That's so fucking cool. Side 1. What if the chick gets pregnant?
That's one of those ones where it sounds more like a premise you put in your notebook as opposed to the actual joke.
What if a chick gets pregnant?
I know how it
Produced
feels.
by Rick Rubin. Look at that.
You can imagine it. Yeah, it's on that Def. It's like not Def Jam. It's Def Recordings.
Deaf, American Deaf. That's what he did with Johnny Cash. That's great. Thank you so much.
There is another record that's called The Day the Laughter Died.
That's the one where he's bombing in the
Aye.
club to like nobody.
Yeah,
I'm a big Dice
I would
head.
like to. Are you actually?
Yeah,
Well,
that's so cool.
Liam,
Hello.
What are you doing on the 24th of March 2024? Do you know what you'll be doing?
I don't know.
Won't you be celebrating Holi, the Indian colour festival?
Get your colourblind tokens.
No,
It's such a niche reference. It's really is like Nardwar.
I thought that was a big thing for you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
What can
yeah.
you tell us about Holi, the Indian?
What fucking podcast is this? Yeah, okay. Long term with now fans will know that I was once
You hosted a religious festival.
accidentally hosted a religious festival and then accidentally
In Aberdeen?
sang an IRA chant to a room full of people. It's a long story. Thank you, John. What's the? Have we got some?
And I've got for that. I have a record for you. I have Scotland the What,
right.
a famous old Scottish sketch troupe, recorded live at His Majesty's Theatre in my hometown of Aberdeen.
Wow.
Where that famous celebration took place.
Buff Hardy and Stephen Robertson, huh?
Wow. There you go.
And
I would love to hear that.
I've got another record for
can
you.
have
it.
I've got Make It Easy on yourself, and one of you can have the other copy of Portrait of Music because I've already got it.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wowee. That's John. Wow.
This is great.
What a feature.
I would love to have we should do a podcast
Enjoy those
called
albums.
Who's
Thank you.
buying his music this week? And they just come in and go, here's, this is great. Thank you so much, John.
No
Honestly.
problem, boys.
John, really,
Thanks so
I'm
much for
so
having me on.
touched that you put in so much thought and effort and came in and gave us those gifts. Genuinely, that's really kind of you. Shout out
Thank you very much.
to Aggers.
No problem.
I'm really sorry for bringing up the Oxfam controversies at the top of the show. I feel like I take it back. I don't care what they did.
No, I'm
But
glad
anyway,
they did it even.
I'm really sorry to have derailed the pod.
No,
the pod in that- in that
please,
fashion.
the pod is
But-
there to be derailed.
God bless somebody
But-
who's came here looking for Burt Bacharach knowledge or just even chat about it, and then they had to sit through that, which I loved. But that was probably one of the best moments of my life ever.
Yeah.
But what I was saying, what I mean by all this is that Stu came in Oxfam, and I said, you got to get this record. It
Portrait
is
of Music,
Portrait of
1971.
Music, 1971 by Burt Bacharach, which is. Has anybody ever done a greatest hits on the podcast? Because I do feel that this is kind of a basic choice in a way, because it is a greatest hits.
I was going to ask why you picked this record in particular, because it is not available on streaming platforms, so we've had to go on, find playlists on Spotify and Apple Music,
Yeah.
which we haven't done since Linda Ronstadt, I believe.
Yeah.
Because this is just the only album of his that I know. His music I know through other artists.
Yeah. Your Dusty Springfields.
Yeah.
Your Dionne Warwicks.
Your Arethas.
Your Cilla Blacks.
Your Elvis Aaron Presleys.
Your Cilla Blacks.
Never thought I'd have Cilla Black on my Apple Music, by the way. What a week.
She's on it, man. Can I just say, by the way, I don't want to put my dad on blast.
Put him on blast.
necessarily, but I do think that he is a huge Cilla Black fan.
Really?
And I think that remember when you could just put bits of songs as ringtones and everybody was doing it, and now thankfully as a society we have went past that. I do believe every time someone texted my dad, it would go, "What's it all about, Alfie?"
That's-
Which was unhinged.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Your dad's...
As a metalhead as well, your dad, right?
My dad's like me, man. He fucks with everything.
Sounds like a man that contains multitudes.
Well, all men and women.
Dads especially.
You never truly know your father.
The less said about that, the better.
Okay, let's do a quick background jump into the life and times of Burt Bacharach.
Secret Posho, secret Posho.
Ba-da-bum.
You do it fast and it feels like no show. Got no money, you got the
Gosh,
show.
bro.
Secret Posho.
He's a secret Posho. That was one of the best ones that has been done. This is, I'm going to say this right now, this is the best episode we've ever had. And I'm not just saying that because we got gifts.
No, I'm saying that because we got gifts, but also it's been really nice and lovely so far.
Burt Bacharach, he went to a school called Forest Hills High School. Non-private, in fact, massive. There was 1,000 pupils per grade. So pretty
Bloody
big.
hell.
One of the biggest high schools in New York. But also it is one of the best ones. So it's one of these things as well where it's like kind of private by proxy a bit, I think, where they put a school in a nice area. And then
gerrymandering.
A bit of gerrymandering. He went there. He's one of the alumni. The other alumni include, it's very musical, Simon and Garfunkel.
Heard of them.
Yeah,
The
they're good.
Ramones.
Oh, yeah. Rock and roll high. That would have been the rock and roll high school.
Yeah, that was the Rock and Roll High School. And Jerry Springer, who famously wrote that opera.
That was Julie. Come on.
Come on, I'm having a bit of fun.
He's dead.
Yeah,
Jerry
he is
Springer.
dead.
So is this guy.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to a real one.
Everyone dies.
So it goes. Huh?
His dad was a newspaper columnist on men's fashion, and his mum was an amateur painter. But then he did go to, he went to 3 different very posh universities / music schools. Mm-hmm. He went to McGill University in Canada, which I thought sounded familiar. And then I went through it. Do you remember who went there?
Some 41.
Did they really? No. Oh. Very first episode of the pod.
Arcade Fire.
Win Butler. And we were like shocked at the time at just how posh this university was. It's got a whole, like under the alumni, it just says how many like leaders of countries and Nobel Prize winners, 5 different astronauts.
Great amount.
Yeah, just so like it's a crazy posh. And then from there, he went to Maine School of Music, which is another private New York music school. And then during the summer, he would go to the Music Academy of the West, which is a posh music summer school. So yeah, very so I think confirmed Posho.
I would just say well off. I wouldn't say.
Must be tough because you couldn't really get. Maybe you could have got in on like a scholarship or something, but from playing piano.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know his like musical like. Early days, like what he learned music.
Oh, I mean, all of these schools,
was a jazz man.
Because you're not like, hey, mum, I'm really into my music. Can I get an orchestra for Christmas? You know what I mean? I want to get into composing full musical.
If you get good grades, we will give you an orchestra. Well, you need to
but you better
yourself.
play it. I want to hear that orchestra every night.
We bought you that costume department last year and you haven't used it once.
So sad to just have a whole dead orchestra in your loft because you forgot to look after them. Like a karate gi.
I mean, these music schools, they're like, I think it's classically trained. You know, these are all like, so I think it's a sort of short journey from there to composing. And from his early partnerships as well, I think it was eventually just became obvious that he was going to compose. In fact, who did he meet? He served in the army, and that's where he met Vic Damone.
I am against war.
Yes. Okay. We're an anti-war podcast. John is an R in that. You pro or anti-war, John?
War's happened. War is happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Kind of nihilist.
Whoa. Okay. Controversial
no, I
take
am
from
anti-war.
John. Yeah.
Okay, sick. Have we had any war criminals on?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We've got Alistair Campbell booked in.
Yeah,
He's on the podcast game now. Him and Rory Stewart.
Him and his daughter.
His daughter does stand up.
Yeah.
Yes. Moving on. He met Vic Damone while serving, right? Vic Damone was like a popular singer at the time, and he sang a song which I love, which is in My Fair Lady. I have often walked down this street before. Though the pavement never stayed beneath my feet before. Do you know that song? Mm-hmm. On the street where you live. He had a very popular version of that. So they started working together then, and that was sort of how he made his way into the... It is a beautiful song, isn't it?
I think at the end of like an early episode of Mad Men, I think.
Do you know, I think that's probably where I heard it the first time. No, I think I heard it before I'd watched Mad Men, because I remember way back when I auditioned for a musical, got the part.
I auditioned for Mad Men.
I did audition for
Back when you smoked.
You were going to be one of the cigarettes, weren't you? Yeah. And they went, no, we'll just get props.
Yeah. You can be a whiskey glass in series 2.
Imagine getting slurped out of by John Hamm.
Were you playing a wee Cockney boy and Don Draper was like, let me give you the pitch for jellied eels.
This is actually very culturally insensitive.
Sorry.
So Burt Bacharach came into my life recently. So we this is a rearranged pod. I don't mind telling people that we had John booked in, and then we had to cancel. And in the time between that, one day I was sat on my Letterboxd app, deciding which film to watch. And I have a very good system. What are you laughing at? What's so funny?
It's just funny when people have Letterboxd stuff.
I've got Letterboxd.
Yeah, what's your beef with Letterboxd?
No, I think it's cool, you know.
Yeah. So I have a system for finding movies, and I can.
What's your system?
System is put in services, the apps that you have, only available to Letterboxd patrons, and then list highest average rating and then have a scroll through. What are you shaking your head at,
Why
Christopher?
should everything that you take into your body be the very best?
Because I'm a pure soul and I need nourishment of the highest form. And this is the Vita system. How I came upon
That's
one
how you
day
get into
watching a
music
film
as
I'd never
well.
seen before, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's on iPlayer. I'd never seen it. Have you seen it?
No.
Fantastic film.
It is good.
Yes.
It is good.
It was like the end of the road of westerns, basically, and it was the last sort of, obviously westerns.
Who
were,
directed it? Bogdanovich?
who did direct it? I can't remember.
I don't know, but
Someone
William
good.
Goldman wrote it,
Right.
and William Goldman was like a legendary screenwriter. There's a good episode of the Big Picture the Rewatchables podcast where they talk about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and the guest on their podcast that episode is Aaron Sorkin, and I know this is an anti-Sorkin pod.
Wow.
I
don't know.
I grew up in a Sorkin household.
We do
so-
talk over each other a lot, so we are pretty good on that front.
but yeah, it's a great movie. I only watched it like last year. I think.
Amazing end. Loved the ending.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is Burt Bacharach, which I was like, oh, we're doing this on the pod soon. So perfectly, a little bit of symmetry there. And, songs such as Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Yeah, which is one of those moments you go, oh shit, that's Burt Bacharach? Okay.
Yeah.
The wee cowboy guys like riding a bike in it.
That's the worst bit of the whole film.
Yeah, there's also a bit in the movie. Yeah, there's a weird. It's a sort of weird montage where you're kind of like, what the fuck is their relationship?
It's really early on as
Is
well.
Paul Newman sort of like a voyeur to
Yeah.
their relationship, and then he's sort of like riding a bike?
They're kind of
around
both. It's suggested they're both fucking the same girl, or
yeah.
yeah. And then he does a little bike show for her.
If you read between the lyrics of "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head," that's what it is.
Come drops,
drops.
isn't it? Yeah. Come drops keep falling on my dick.
Oh, come on now, come on.
It's not a type
But yeah,
of
there's
podcast.
three.
Sorkin wouldn't say that sort of thing.
Songs, 3 bits of music on this.
Yeah, including the bit. What's the ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba?
Yeah.
No, I can't remember.
Ba-da,
Yeah.
ba-da, ba-da, ba-da-da, ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. I don't even know what that music is.
It's sick,
What do you
I'll tell you
call
that
it?
much.
It's delightful.
I want just a nice woman from the past scatting.
Can you believe that of all the songs that was?
I've googled "nice woman from the past" scatting before, and let me tell you, not that good.
Jesus.
'Cause-
Come drops keep falling on my dick's too much, but you're talking about someone's granny doing a dump on a guy, and that's fine. Sure. Cool. Just so as we know where the line is, that's fine. Okay.
But yeah, that's a really interesting way to sort of rediscover Burt Bacharach through listening to this album. In Oxfam is how I got back into him, and then that culminated in I saw his second last ever live performance.
Wow.
Where?
Out by one.
Kelvin Grove.
He done the bandstand. I walked past the bandstand yesterday, and his ghost might have been there.
Well,
Yeah.
he was. What was his last? What was his last performance? That's the one
back
you
in
wanna-
back in America,
Mm.
because if you go on a set list, he had a tour of Japan the next year that was cancelled by COVID-19.
I'm fucking fed up of COVID.
I'm sick of it.
I'm fed of the pandemic.
But yeah, that is the best concert I've ever seen. in my
Really?
life. Yeah.
What
'cause
was it
it's
like? A big orchestra and him playing the piano?
big orchestra. He was like in his late 80s, early 90s.
I think he died in '94. So yeah,
I was a bit concerned because I was like, that's the thing that we should talk about is that there's so much of this music that you associate with voices, and some of the songs are so synonymous with certain singers. Like I Say a Little Prayer, you just associate that with Aretha Franklin and stuff. So I was kind of like, who the fuck is going to sing this? Like, but then I was like, well, he's not going to have shit people. Is he? Singing these. But he did about 3 different like medleys throughout, and each of these medleys had 4 like incredible songs in them. He did Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head twice. It was
he played it twice.
Yeah.
Come on, Bert.
Bro, you came. I remember the first time you came on, but and when I started this program back in 1971, and you were doing your portrait and music, and I said, "Bet you gotta come on,"
It was so good. It was
Play
so good.
Raindrops twice.
And then there was drops coming out of my cock. Bro.
It was a bit cocky. Anyway, that is beautiful.
But
Thank you.
it was amazing. It was just like, it was just It was just incredible. It
It's
was just
so
incredible.
interesting
It was
that-
just loads of people enjoying all this amazing music.
And
And it
there's
was
a-
really like...
It sounds like when I saw Nile Rodgers and Chic, that feeling of everyone enjoying this music, but also every single time a new song, you're like, oh fuck, that was him.
I know.
And just slowly, or
There were songs
maybe
that
not
I was
slowly.
like, this is him?
Yeah. And then the whole audience just, throughout the entirety of the show, by the end going, oh my God, we are watching just a fucking genius work through. I know all of this through different artists. The fingerprint that they have on the last 100 years of contemporary music is fucking phenomenal.
Unreal. Yeah. Like there was loads where I was just, you're just like,
I think probably
what?
more special watching Burt Bacharach because now he's dead,
Yeah.
but also Noel Rodgers and Chic play in Scotland every second day from the looks of things.
Yeah.
It's
And-
so interesting that you bring up Burt playing Glasgow because I have a
Wow. Burt's got ink.
We're two guys, three guys reviewing tattoos. We're gonna Google image search and then we'll choose if it's tattoo woohoo or tattoo boohoo. We're judging the ink, yeah, that's what we do. Do full sleeve or face tats, big skull or wing bats. You pick the design, is it bad or just fine? A dragon or a pretentious or
No.
you cannot hide, and we will decide if it's tattoo woohoo or tattoo boo. Yeah. But Bacharach does not have any tattoos. But
I haven't had one of those in a while.
that is, I found on a Burt Bacharach fan forum, which exists.
Forums.
Yeah.
Wow.
A message board
Hello, 2008.
with the default colours of baby blue in the background. Someone said recently, this was in July 02. No, July 2nd, 2013. Recently, I had the pleasure of meeting Burt outside the Glasgow show. The band asked that I upload a photo of my tattoo, wondering if anyone else has a Bacharach portrait tattoo or any Bacharach-inspired tattoo. They did not know of one. And if anyone who has there got a photo of Burt signing it, please let me know. To say this was a night to remember would be putting it mildly. Meet Burt Bacharach.
Why would you not get it on your back? Get it on your back.
No, it's on a
back
calf.
at the calf.
Yeah, but
Oh,
get,
Bacharach.
get it on your back.
Oh, of course.
They
Back and
got-
crack.
They-
Get the full fucking gatefold.
Get the Burt Bacharach, huh? Meet Burt Bacharach. And I have no idea if this will work, but if you copy and paste this link, you'll see the photo. If anyone can figure out how to put this in the message so you can see it, just do it. Thanks. And then the link's dead.
Right. Yeah,
So
so
there's
just,
no picture, but
just imagine a picture of Burt Bacharach on someone's calf and then woohoo or boohoo that. For me, that's a woohoo.
it's a woohoo from me.
Portrait in ink.
Wow. There you go.
Portrait in
Was that
music.
from a house is not a homepage? BurtBacharachOnline.com.
was from
That's good
Do You Know
stuff.
the Way to San Forum. Terrible. Didn't make any sense. Anyway, I have another thing I was going to say. I think the first time I ever heard Burt Bacharach would be, of course, in the iconic 90s comedy series Austin Powers. One of my favourite film
Him and
franchises.
Elvis Costello.
Well, in the second one, it was him and Elvis Costello, but in the first one, it was just Burt. And in the third one, obviously, he wasn't in the main
Yeah.
body, but in the credits, he showed up.
What's he saying in the third one?
It's the same thing he films in the
Starring
first one.
Beyonce, who was in this very city last night.
Yes.
In this very podcast studio
In
last
this very
week. Looking forward to that
podcast.
episode coming out.
Do you know, I just got a text.
She didn't bring us fucking anything.
I just got a text.
From Beyonce.
Yeah.
The fucking audio for that podcast, you know.
Works really great.
Yeah. Well, no,
Well-
Corbin. Corbin's left the studio, and as a last act of sabotage, he's printed out the podcast we did with Beyonce talking about Underground Radio, and he's done a big shit on it. So thanks, Corbin.
Wow. Okay. Glad he's gone.
He's gone. I'm trying to find my fucking.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Did you know
Look at him.
that
Lovely
Mike
guy.
Myers? Did you see what he said about Burt Bacharach? That he listened to "Never Fall in Love Again,"
Never fall in love again.
and that was the inspiration for Austin Powers, is what he said.
Wow.
He said he was listening to that and was like, oh, I should do like a fun 60s. He just got him thinking about the 60s, and that's where Austin Powers comes from.
The YouTube hole of Burt Bacharach is so much bigger than any normal artist because it fires off into different artists. But when I was having a coffee before I came here, I watched Mike Myers sing "What's New Pussycat" in the White House.
Wow.
Who was the president at the time? Bush?
What's New Pussycat?
What's good?
Love Guru.
He's doing all the in-jokes. John, you can stay.
Bad bastard.
Oxfam?
Come on. Come on.
Wow, and so what's
He's
new?
front row next to Burt Bacharach, and you can tell that Myers is like, this is going to be funny. 10 seconds in, he's just singing "What's New Pussycat." Not very well. Because you're like, you watch that documentary and you see Tom Jones sing "What's New Pussycat," and you're like, this is like, what's the singing capability behind
this
this?
is just
But then
talking
you
like-
watch Mike Myers, and then you're like, wow, Tom Jones sings "What's New
Tom Jones
Pussycat."
a good singer, man.
Yeah.
Very interesting that you say that, because when Tom Jones was presented with What's New Pussycat, he said, when I first heard it, I thought, Christ, what the bloody hell do they want me to sing this for? And Burt Bacharach explained, I wanted the big voice to sing this bloody crazy song. Now you put it on, it's a classic. So when you think about it, it is a really silly song.
Yeah.
What's New Pussycat?
Whoa.
Especially the intro, the like fucking circus intro.
Yeah.
Not on this album. I mean, what the fuck could you leave off of this album? That's the difficult thing about it.
It's hit after fucking hit. Just before we leave Austin Powers, I found an unhinged Rolling Stone article of the week.
Wow, okay.
Unhinged Rolling Stone article of the week. It's very likely that you first became aware of Bacharach in 1997 when you entered a multiplex to see the Mike Myers movie Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Insane.
The key scene comes midway through the film when the unfrozen 60s spy is struggling to adapt to life in the 90s. As Bacharach's 1965 classic What the World Needs Now Is Love plays in the background, Powers drives alone through Las Vegas, gets mocked at a bar by a group of young friends, attempts to play a Birds CD on a record player, pumps up a Reebok pump shoe until it explodes and he's covered in powder, and learns that Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin and Mama Cass are all dead. He grows more emotional when he catches up in the last 30 years of world history, including the moon landing, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and the end of apartheid. But then he takes Elizabeth Hurley's character on a drive down the Las Vegas Strip on top of a double-decker bus. Ladies and gentlemen, he says to the camera, Mr. Burt Bacharach. And there, indeed, is Bacharach, wearing a tuxedo, playing the song on the piano. He's only on camera for a few seconds, but it's one of the most memorable cameos in the Austin Powers trilogy.
Wow.
But it is amazing. It's pure class.
That scene really gets to the core of how shite it would be if everybody loved was dead.
And that's generally what I think of when I'm watching Austin Powers.
There is such a heart to that film. I watched it recently and I was like, my God.
Recently?
What? Why are you watching Butch Cassidy and the Can Dance Fid?
What?
And the fan down.
Butch Dastardly.
The fan down shit over here, man.
To be fair, some of it some of it is really funny.
That is
that's
one of the
not
funniest
my penis pump, but that's not my bag. I have a book here called Austin Powers and My Penis Pump, which is my bag, baby.
And he also has the receipt for buying it. It's really Swedish.
Yeah, okay,
and then very kind of cyclical, like the Kakariko Village ruins, is at the end when Random Task, the odd job analogous person, comes in to kill him after Dr. Evil's been sorted out. Almost as a post-credits thing, but, they had restraint back then. They're not going to keep you past the credits. It's the 90s. He puts the penis pump on the guy and he pumps it up until his cock explodes.
Yeah.
And for me, that just underlined how...
It's Chekhov's gun.
It's Chekhov's pump. It's Chekhov's penis pump. I just want to say... one of the best films of all time.
Well, speaking of movies, so Burt Bacharach had a long a relationship with Hal David, who was his lyricist for a very long time, and they worked on a movie together called Lost Horizon, which is commonly known as one of the worst films ever made.
Lost Horizon.
Yeah, it was like it's in all these lists, like top 100 funny bad movies to watch. It was an absolute disaster. They lost a lot of money on it. It's like a musical, but not really. Like the first hour of the film doesn't have any songs in it, and the last hour doesn't have any songs in it. There's like 8 songs within 45 minutes or something.
Then nobody's happy.
Yeah, and so Burt Bacharach hated it. He said after that, my songs work on their own, but not in this film. And him and Hal like fell out over it, ended up trying to sue each other, and that was the end of their relationship. This terrible movie.
Yeah, and it's kind of that's quite sad, and it's in that BBC documentary, and
Great doc.
which it's good. It's a very concise. It's a very concise documentary.
Who is it who's doing the voice over the top? It's narrated by someone.
Dusty Springfield.
Is it Dusty Springfield?
We love Dusty on this pod.
We love Dusty. Ed Sheeran last week, he loved Dusty too.
So they were not talking, even though Burt Bacharach's like, it's just he's got such a weird voice. It's like deep but high.
Yeah.
It's just
I remember way back when I was Burt Bacharach.
and he's like, it was just time to move on. And then it cuts to Dionne Warwick was like, they fell out. They're not speaking anymore, so they're not writing any songs anymore. My contract under Warner is that I've got to bash out some albums. I'm licensed to their partnership. I can't make any music anymore, so I sue them.
Yeah.
So she sued them. But I think after a while, it was all sort of like squared away because then he wrote a song for her that they sang together like years later.
Yeah,
I
and Dionne Warwick ended up being one of the most successful female artists of all time in the back of Burt Bacharach songs. I think second only to Aretha Franklin.
I would like to bring up a note I made where when I was watching the documentary, I wrote Cilla Black versus Dionne Warwick. Huge rivalry.
The verses.
Very
Did
big.
you watch any of the verses during lockdown? I know this is such a throwback, but that's a verses I would like to see.
We done the Earth, Wind and Fire versus the Isley Brothers.
That was so good with
Yeah.
Steve Harvey sitting in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah.
It's like, this is that Saturday morning cleaning the house music.
I would actually say this was Saturday morning cleaning house
This
music.
is so like it's described as easy listening sometimes, although I don't think they actually like that tag themselves. But oh my god, putting this on and just a smooth, everything is smooth about it. It's so cool and easy listening. I think one of these types of music that perfectly suits vinyl. I'm so excited to put on my Burt Bacharach vinyl when I get home.
Yeah, it's nice. That's why I said, Stuart, like you've got to have this in your collection. You can put it on, you can mindfully listen to it, or you can have it on in the background. It's nice, for when people are around having drinks or whatever. But before the Dionne and Cilla thing, because you mentioned Hal David, that's what. Because when I first told you about this album, you were like, so it's a lot of instrumentals.
Yeah.
And the thing about this album is that it's his album. Like it's not real.
It's saying Hal Davis, why don't you shut the fuck up?
Yeah,
Because no one cares.
but that's what I think would be really interesting to have a conversation about. Is that it's mostly music, but you cannot Noel Gallagher and loads of people are like, Burt Bacharach's songs. A song is, I don't want to be pedantic, but this is the place to have it.
Yeah, it's the melody
But
that
like,
gets you as well.
it's the melody. He didn't write any lyrics. The only one of the songs on here that he doesn't have any lyrics on is the one where it's like,
That one's classic.
He wrote all the lyrics for that.
He wrote that.
Yeah, he wrote that. But it's like, can you separate? It's how do you separate the lyrics from the music and credit him rightly? I mean, it was it's a partnership, and that's nice. But I'm just kind of like, I was just like, how do we review this album and not the man and the legend?
Oh yeah,
you know
sure.
what I mean?
It really functions as a piece of kind of easy listening, and I do think that easy listening is the kind of early 70s equivalent of like chill lo-fi beats to study and relax to.
Yes,
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like this is what you would put on to chill and like whatever people did in the 70s.
Drink and smoke.
Drink and smoke till relax
yeah.
to.
Absolutely.
You really need help to relax when you're drinking and smoking. I just want to say, thank you for bringing this to us. Did you enjoy listening to it this week? Obviously you were a big fan of it, but
I loved listening to it. There's some filler on it. I think. I feel like it could lose one of the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance.
Sure.
Disagree.
On it. Yeah?
Disagree.
Like, because I mean,
Well, the one we're doing, shut up.
I love
that
that
shouldn't go anywhere.
I like
great.
because
And
first
then
of
the
all,
other one is,
first of all, I didn't like listening to that, but then it cuts out. It's like ba-da-ba-da-ba, and then you're like, what? And then it goes, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba, and you feel, all of a sudden, you can feel and hear the space in it, and you totally appreciate it, because it just sounds like a
So you
racket
drop of the
initially.
Sundance Kid?
Yeah, I think.
Do you know that the film festival Sundance is named after Sundance from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
Wow.
Yes. Fun fact told to me by my partner.
Cannes. They're named after the German band, the Cannes Film Festival, isn't it? They're named after Cannes.
That's the sort of jokes you get on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Promises, I don't love.
Yeah.
Promises,
What is the name of the
promises,
one that's just kind of
Promises.
bebop kind of?
That's South American Getaway.
Yeah.
Cool. Love it.
It's sick.
Did you enjoy an album this week, Liam?
I loved it. Within about 20 minutes of listening to it, I was like, I'm going to get this on vinyl.
And now you do.
And now I do. And now I don't. And yeah, so great week, great guest.
It's good walking around. It's good walking around.
Just
music.
a note on the easy listening thing is that, but what Burt Bacharach said about that is quite interesting. Where he said it's sometimes called easy listening, and to quote, he said making it was anything but easy. And it's really like technically, it's actually very complex.
Yeah.
So it's not easy in the sense of like, hey, we just chuck this together, and like a lot of work has gone in to make this sound the way it does.
Yeah.
But it is very smooth to listen to.
I was quite nervous about coming on the podcast because I don't know how to talk about music.
It's difficult.
I don't actually know about
quick.
bridges, time signatures, all the rest.
What are those things? We
bridges,
don't know.
Bridges a bit after a chorus and before a verse later on.
That.
That's it.
What do you think? We're nerds?
But apparently people are like time signatures are very complex and stuff like that. But what is interesting about this is, in his musicianship, is that the melodies often copy the melody of like the lyrics. So like I don't
It's
really know
instrumental, but the words are in your head.
Yeah, exactly. And it's when I went to see him live, like you're talking about Chic and Nile Rodgers, it's like these songs almost now belong to the public.
They're canon. They are canon.
Yeah, they're canon. They're canon to music and people's enjoyment of music, and it's almost like like going back to like my grandma singing like "Do You Know the Way to San Jose?" They're songs that are just like so entrenched in people's like culture that you sing I came in and you were singing fucking. You were singing a song, and it's kind of like
It was the one for Austin Powers.
yeah.
But what's interesting
it's
about
like
that, I
they're
think,
almost designed for you to sing.
yeah. What's
Does
interesting
that
about that
make
is,
sense?
I think, is that it becomes so canonized that A, people don't know who wrote them, and B, never really then actually sit down and listen to them because they're just songs you know. But how often would you actually sit down and go, right, I'm going to listen to Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head?
Exactly.
I've never done that
Yeah.
before, but
Imagine
I have this
being
week.
at a gaff.
4
3
a.m.
in the
Pass the
morning.
ox.
Put something on.
You need to listen to this, man. You need to listen to this.
So my phone
Every
is
time
kind
I
of
think
taxi.
about this, I think about every time I think about this song, I feel like killing myself. But then I remember lights like this, and I think the raindrops on the hill tonight.
Chris, have you enjoyed an album?
I've got a couple of unhinged YouTube comments.
Wow. John has really done his work.
Let's hear it, John.
This is
Before
on.
we get to playlist picks.
So on the YouTube hole that I went down, one of the there's loads of covers obviously, and this is the era of people recording stuff and re-recording and re-recording and re-recording. And one of the most famous people that re-recorded and covered his songs was Isaac Hayes. He in all of his early albums he covered like classics like Walk On By and stuff like that. And then one of the videos I watched was Isaac Hayes and Conan make chocolate salty balls on the Late Night with Conan O'Brien. And Steve Hill 9 months ago, so they're making chocolate salty balls,
Yes.
and stuff. And then Steve Hill 9 months ago said, "Why is Conan telling him to stop saying that? If the show said no to the lyrics, then by all means. But they obviously approved that segment with the song. So like I said, I do not get it." And then there was a reply from that subpar VA 5 months ago, edited, said, "He doesn't mean that genuinely. It's like when your friend says some funny shit that's kind of sus and keeps repeating it, lol." Which kind of happens a lot on this podcast.
That's what this
Excuse
podcast's
me.
all about, man. It's like
That's not really...
it's kind of sus, but
There's not a lot of unhinged stuff to find on this because when you get like an artist like this, it's just mostly rip.
Yeah.
Which is
Or,
respectful.
My father died last night. He was a great fan of Burt Bacharach.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to his back catalogue now.
There's an amazing Burt Bacharach and Associates TV special from 1972 that starts so good. It's got like a version of women in, Wives and Lovers, I think. And it's really good. There's this amazing like performance that Sammy Davis Jr. does of Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, but he does it kind of a cappella, but there's some drums in the background, and then the band comes in, and then he just dances to it.
That sounds sumptuous.
It's class. So Aurora Alice commented on that video, Burt Freeman Bacharach, gone but never forgotten, the incomparable and iconic composer of the 20th century, born May 12th, 1928, Kansas City, Missouri, US, died February 8th, 2023, Los Angeles, California, US. Education, McGill University, Mann School of Music, Music Academy of the West.
This is where I got most of my research from.
Same. God bless you, Burt. May all the angels in heaven sing for you. Wow. And there's one reply which is, Hi, Aurora Alice. I am sure they will. And it will be mostly Burt's songs. Kind regards, Kenny. And I know that's not unhinged.
It's a wee bit unhinged.
That's kind of like, what the internet's... that's just the weird genre of comments where it's like, yeah.
It's just lost souls trying to get by.
Right.
Bearing that in mind, what's your playlist pick this week?
Yes.
Liam.
So every week we add a song each from the album we just listened to and a song inspired by the conversation that we've had. I'm going to put on South American Getaway from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Skibbity bop stuff? Okay, shit, cool.
There's the one guy,
as well. I love that so much.
There's the one guy on it who goes, ba-da-ba.
Yeah.
And then never sings again.
Yeah.
Legend.
One and done. Why do it? What about you? What are you going to put on from the record, John?
I am going to put on This Guy's in Love with You, which is the best song. Noel Gallagher ripped it off for Half the World Away. Wow. Am I just stealing all your bits?
No, I didn't.
Noel Gallagher ripped it off for Half the World Away. The inside of this album features on the cover of Definitely Maybe.
Yeah.
In the living room. It was also one of my pre-show music from a Fringe show last year.
Your romantic comedy stand-up show.
Absolutely. And the covers, there's so much covers here. Or other songs like Walk On By Dionne Warwick is one of the best. Half the World Away I love so much. The theme tune to The Royal Family, probably best best theme tune of any sitcom. That's Living All Right. Yeah, but there's Stevie Wonder does a version of Close to You that it's not on record, but it's him using like a vocoder. What's the thing that you put in your mouth and it goes like, it's like a robot talking?
Yeah.
Is that a vocoder? Yeah. And then Frank Ocean sampled that and covered Close to You in Blonde. The Stranglers do an amazing version of Walk On By.
Yeah, that one's good. That's
fucking class. Yeah. Luther Vandross's version of A House That's Not a Home, which was sampled by Kanye for Slow Jams, is incredible. Wow. It's so good. And there's an amazing live version of that as well. But I think it will be my favourite, which is I Just Don't Know What to Do With Myself.
White Stripes.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah, with who's Kate Moss on a
No, it's just White Stripes.
Is it?
It's just him and Meg, I think.
Really?
No, but in the video, I'm sure Kate Moss is on a pole.
I haven't seen the video.
Yeah.
But my pick is I Just Don't Know What to Do With Myself by Isaac Hayes, which is my favourite. And as a present to you, Liam, for being in the deficit with records, you get the Isaac Hayes movement.
Wow. Oh my God.
It's just got this fucking dope,
and it has that version, I Just Don't Know What to Do with Myself, 7 minutes long. 7 minutes. Hell yes.
Something. Do you know what something is?
No.
It's something in the way she moves.
Something in the way she
There's
moves.
4 songs on this record.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well,
the first one is called I Stand Accused. Love that.
It's so good. And the thing is with that, if this was a 3-hour podcast, we could get into it, but
we need to leave soon.
Yeah.
Okay, my second song is going to be from the band Pizzicato 5, which are a Japanese Shibuya Kai band. Are you annoyed? Have I just stepped on your toes there?
I don't mind that at all.
Shibuya Kai were sort of influenced by the likes of Burt Bacharach, and this is one of their. It's Japanese, easy listening. It's cool as fuck. The song's called Love and Soul, I think. But on Spotify, it's written in Japanese. So Just whichever one has the most listens.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Shibuya Kai, which was this kind of kitschy 90s Japanese electropop take on lounge music of the 70s. So today I typed in Google on the way here to try and remember what the genre was called. I typed in Burt Bacharach Japanese, and then this song came up, which I don't know why this is in the same song. It's by Burt Bacharach and Hal. Have you heard of this? Hal Davis? And it's called Me Japanese Boy, I Love You.
Me Japanese Boy, I Love You.
By Burt Bacharach. Here's some of the lyrics. They carved their names on a cherry tree, just like they've done in Japan since time began. Okay, fair enough. Good point. Then he gently held her hand and said, Me Japanese boy, I love you. I do love you. You Japanese girl, you love me. Please say you do. And you like this guy?
Yeah, whoa. What the fuck, man?
John.
Oh, the Oxfam boy rears his ugly head again.
Liam, you spent some time in Japan. Is that how they speak to each other?
I lived in Japan, and that's
Did
very
you fall
accurate.
in love? Is this about you?
Yes, it's very
He's
accurate.
Japanese boy, he loves you for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm
Me English
not
boy,
going
you
to
Japanese girl, I love you.
I'm not going to put that racist song on.
Please
I'm going to
don't.
put on a Shibuya Kai record called Nice.
Oh, you're also putting on Shibuya Kai? Right, I'll put on the Street Where You Live then by Victor Moan.
Cool. NICE Guy 1991 Nice Guy remix by a guy called Shad Darapar.
Great.
And it's like a Japanese rap where he swears in English, and it's really kind of fun and loungy.
Okay, cool. Great choice. John, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've
It's
been a
really
wonderful
fun.
guest. You're the first guest ever to bring us gifts, so therefore the best guest we've ever had.
I love when people are nice to me.
Absolutely. I'm a
just think
sucker
it's
for
great.
people being nice. John, your YouTube special is genuinely one of the nicest stand-up specials there is on YouTube. It's really, I highly, highly recommend it.
Thanks
So
very
if
much,
you like
mate.
this podcast, you'll love it. It's just
Directed by the guy who directs this.
yes, that's
Sort
right. And it's just it's just a different style of stand-up special because it's so sweet. It's like a rom-com. And
It reminds me of Andrew Dice Clay. You're one should says a warning. This album is
wholesome,
adorable.
yeah. Warning: this album is sweet AF. So please, if you are watching, go check out John's special on YouTube. It's really, really great.
Thank you very much. It's called Welcome Back. And my friend Katrina made the music that is in the end credits for that. It's a song called A Little Bit of You, and you can check her out. Her name on Bandcamp is Menko, Menko.
Wow.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, everybody involved in this,
Yep.
for continuing to do it. And thank you, dear listener or viewer, for watching or listening. And if you are watching, please like, subscribe, all of that stuff.
Leave a comment underneath about your favourite part of the Austin Powers franchise.
And join the Patreon because he's got to get the train through.
I need to get the train through every day. And they've just changed the timetables today.
Oh.
And I don't know how I'm going to get home because I mean, I'll get the train home, but I don't know what time I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I can check train line.
Probably figure that out.
Peace and love and the new millennium.
Love you, bye.